Well, sometimes for some of us, especially with technology today, everyone, of course, wants to speed the process up. And what happens is we get marketed the panacea. We get marketed the instant sales pill. Most people seem to invest their time, energy, and finances in strategies, but not in themselves. So they show up, and the next thing you've got to do with these strategies, and these strategies are everything from obviously what phone calls you're gonna be doing, what's your action plan, whatever it is, there's all these strategies. But if you don't implement them, you don't take action with them, obviously they're not gonna work.
This episode is brought to you in part by TSE Certified Sales Training Program. The program is to challenge sales reps, to teach them the fundamentals, and to help them become consistent at closing deals. To find out more about the program, go to thesalesevangelist.com/course. This episode is also brought to you in part by audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial. Simply go to audibletrial.com/TSE. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we have a great guest coming on the show. He's a part of the Tony Robbins team, and we actually had him come down to one of our local sales meetup here in West Palm Beach. His name is Doug McGuirk, and Doug, he comes with a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom. And one of the things that we were emphasizing, we were talking about, is how sales reps can, change their mindset, change the level of thinking, and how they can perform well. He also talks about one of Tony's event coming up here in South Florida and how this can help you transform from where you are now to where you want to go. It's a very interesting episode. I think you're going to like it. Welcome to the show, Doug.
Thank you so much, Donald, for having me. This is an awesome privilege, and I love what you're doing and helping fellow sales and influencers take their business and ultimately their lives to the next level. I really want to honor you for that.
Well, thank you, man. I am super excited, and I'm grateful that we have you and grateful that you're here. And as you guys heard in the teaser, we're recording this live in person. There's a few interviews I've ever done in person, and Doug is one of them now. I can count them all on one hand.
There you go.
But Doug's with Tony Robbins' team, as I mentioned, and today we're going to talk about how we can get our individual selves as a sales rep or as a sales team or as an entrepreneur from where we are today to where we want to get to in the future. But before we dive into all that fun stuff, I want Doug to talk a little bit more about him and what he does on a day-to-day basis. So Doug, tell us a little bit more about you.
Right on. Thank you. So essentially, my role as a national trainer with Tony Robbins or a peak performance strategist is to help people get clear as to where they're at right now. So in your sales organization, what are the results that you're experiencing and what's possible? What are the goals that you have aspirations to as an organization, as a individual salesperson, or as a team leader? And the first step, of course, is having goals. Wouldn't you agree? You got to have some sort of outcome in mind. So when I think about even getting the opportunity with Tony several years ago, I had to sell myself to Tony. I had to sell myself to the organization. And the reason why I share that is a lot of what we're going to talk about today is going to be about what is our role in our experience in life, right? We can't change the market. We can't change the economy. We can't change if we're working with an organization. We can't necessarily change their standards of practice and so forth. All we can do is work with ourselves. And that's what Tony's so brilliant at, is helping people get clear on what they're truly capable of and accessing all of that power. And there's no pun intended in that. Tony has an event called Unleash the Power Within. And it's true, because what you and I are capable of is nothing short of miraculous. And the goal here is to help people realize their true potential and then start applying their God-given skills.
So I do agree with you with the whole idea of the goals. I mean, if you don't have goals, you're going nowhere. I can tell you the times when I performed best in my sales career was I had visual goals. I had them written out on a whiteboard. I had them in a place where I saw them regular, and then I worked backwards, or I made plans. Like this month, I have to hit this, do these activities in order to get the results that I'm looking for. So I definitely believe that to be 100% true. And I think
reverse engineer it. Yeah. So here's my 1 month goal, my 3 month goal, my 6 month goal, my 1 year goal. And then what are the benchmarks that I need to achieve on a weekly, daily, monthly basis? And that is certainly going to give us the measurable opportunities to know where we've got to tweak our activities.
Now, guys, there's something unique about this experience too. We're here with a little studio audience. So there's a few of us here, and they're going to be able to ask some questions as we go throughout this. So you'll probably hear some questions that are asked. But let's just say a sales rep, she's doing, she is middle of the year, end of the third quarter right now. She's looking at the beginning of the fourth, and she's looking at next year, and she's trying to figure out, well, I didn't hit where I want to be. I feel like I'm stuck. So goals setting is one thing. Walk us through, you're my mentor, you're my coach, you're my guide. How are you going to help me get from making that $50,000 a year to where I'm making that $150,000? What would you do to make that possible? People are making it. It's just that she's not.
Right. So, well, first thing is get clear. I start analyzing, and this is what we do in our trainings with Tony, is get some clarity as to what is holding the back. What are some of the patterns that we're running? So if someone is stuck, that in and of itself is a pattern, right? So I'm sure you've had days where you've been stuck and you realize that you're having difficulty getting out of your own way. Mm-hmm. And that stuckness also could be, we got to look at what are perhaps some of the activities that have been holding us back. So some people may find themselves getting up and getting ready to do some prospecting, and then they go, oh, but you know what, before I do that, let me have some breakfast. And before, after I have breakfast, I forgot, I didn't have the milk that I needed. So let me go get the milk. And then, while I'm out, I might as well get my dry cleaning done. And then, okay, so now that my dry cleaning is done, oh, you know what? That's right. I'm already here. I needed to get that part for my, washing machine or whatever it is. And sometimes these are the patterns of distraction that you and I may run, and what this woman could be running. And the first step is, of course, awareness. Mm-hmm. What is getting in our way? What are the patterns of thought, the patterns of activity, the patterns of focus? Like, what are the things that we're looking at? And here's the challenge. It's really difficult to imagine achieving $150,000 if you've never done it before and you've plateaued at 50 and you're feeling bad about it.
Yes.
So now you're not present, you're showing up, you're feeling bad, you're beating yourself up, and then you show up, and then how does it sound when you're like all beat up? You're like, you probably wouldn't want to you don't want to buy from me, would you? Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, no, this is not going to, you know what? I need to find another career. That's what I need to do. So nobody's got any money. And then we start creating these beliefs around it because we've got evidence, right? We've got evidence because I didn't sell. Ergo, no one has any money. Or sometimes we also fold in on ourselves, beating ourselves up. I'm being a leader. I'm taking personal responsibility. Now it's my fault. And while, yes, it is, staying stuck in that is not going to do that. Like beating yourself up is the worst thing that we can do. And because we're human, we do.
Yes.
So how do we do that? So one of the things that you learn and why Tony's so brilliant is at Unleash the Power Within or any of his other events, you learn how to get out of that story effectively, quickly, so that you can access who you truly are, get really clear on your goals, and start chipping away at that. And some of the things that you will learn with Tony is really the way you carry yourself, right? Are you waking up every day and are you breathing? And I'm joking, but not. Like oftentimes, sometimes we get up and we just get right into drinking our coffee and going to whatever. And we're not even doing simple things like being grateful and breathing, taking deep breaths and priming ourselves for the day.
Yeah.
And what I noticed, I was talking to one of my clients actually, and he's was stuck in a rut a little bit. And what we unpacked was he stopped doing the things that he used to do that made him successful, like making his bed in the morning, like praying, meditating, getting present, exercising, like these little things. And we take these for granted, but these little things are the things that take us out. Yeah. And the beauty of what Tony has done over the last 40 plus years has been able to shortcut it so that we know how to get up and turn it on. We know how to, we learned one of the most powerful 4-letter words. And when you attend the event, I'll give it away, but you'll get it. 4-letter word. You ready?
What's that?
Next.
Next
call, right? If we're doing some, fanatical prospecting, we're making those calls, pounding the phones, and doesn't work. Someone hangs. Is it possible someone's going to hang up? Someone's going to go, don't call me again. So whatever. All right, next. Not, oh, great, nobody likes me. Oh, no, this is phone calls. You know what? I'm not good on the phone. Cold calling sucks.
It doesn't work.
Right. And now, here's the deal. It's like, if you think about it in the sense of exercise.
Yeah.
So where do you get the most growth? The first rep or the 10th?
Is it the 10th?
The 12th. Right? When you've got no more and the trainer or coach is like, come on, you can do it. Right? And that's what Tony's so brilliant at, is creating that environment where you know how to push yourself. Have you ever done that? You've been hired a trainer and you're not giving it your all. Right? And then the trainer stops you at 12 and you're like, oh man, I haven't been giving it all. Let me do 3 more. Right? And just like, I'm not getting to fail. So when you think about that, then the people who are really successful in their ability to be healthy and be fit and be ripped and cut is they enjoy the discomfort they experience when they exercise. They know that if they don't feel the burn, it's not working.
So most of us, we are running from the pain. And in order to succeed, you have to go to the pain.
Or through it.
And it makes sense. So like what you're talking about, like with sales reps, I can tell you I'll give you an example. I did door-to-door security sales.
Mm-hmm.
It's awful. Is
that a limiting belief right here?
It is a great. I did earn, and I was on a low end on this year. First time I did it 1 year. I was trying to get money for an internship in New York. Made $20,000 in 3 months. That was pretty sweet. Yeah. Right. And that was a low end.
And that was door knocking.
Yes.
Killer.
Now, here's the other thing that I recognize with door-to-door security sales. Usually, the best time to get a sale, you know when that was? Was right after I got a sale from the previous store. And it wasn't anything dealing with, it wasn't all of a sudden that everyone in this neighborhood now wanted to buy a security system. Nothing changed. But it just seemed that right after I got this sale, then the neighbor wanted to get one, and then the other person wanted to get one. And the only person that changed, the only individual, was me.
100%.
Yeah.
And that is the power of momentum.
Yeah.
And that is the power of why I believe so much in Tony and why I go to his events, even though I go to other events too. I'm agnostic. Tony's the best and I learn from other people and I hold my own. But the truth is that mastery of owning yourself, because that's really what it is you sell the one and you own it. You're like, okay, cool. I rock. All right, this is awesome. I can do this. I'm unstoppable. You have that unbelievable confidence. So when you walk up, you're already so convinced that they're going to buy. You're able to overcome their objections. It's kind of like, all right, did you see Central Intelligence?
No, I haven't seen it.
Have you guys seen Central Intelligence with The Rock and Kevin Hart? Well, there was this one scene where The Rock is, he's like twice the size of Kevin Hart, right? So
anybody is twice the size.
This is true. Yeah, good point. But so that's true. Yeah, right. Kevin's like, what are you talking about? So The Rock is sitting there and he's so confident in his ability to, be an ass kicker. And it's when it's one of their first interactions where Kevin Hart is trying to say, no, I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. And he goes to hit The Rock and he goes to karate chop him. And The Rock just laughs at him. He's like, yeah, okay, come on. Right. And that just reminds me of the mindset of that unstoppable salesperson when they tell you no, when they sell, I don't have the money. I don't have the time. Yeah, okay, come on. All right. So we're and you just push through in a graceful, elegant way, but because you're not moving. You're like, look, I'm here to serve you.
Yeah.
You're worse off if you don't take action right now.
Yes.
And that belief in yourself is so vital and so important. And a lot of times people don't realize that they could access it. You don't need to have that first sale in order to have it. But most people...
Because you got to get that sale somehow. So
right, exactly.
You got to figure
chicken
it out.
or egg.
Maybe that's why I only made 20.
Right. Yeah.
No, seriously.
And it's 100%.
Yeah.
And that's what Tony teaches at Unleash the Power Within at this event, is how to create that unstoppable certainty no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter what's going on. You just are able to create that in your body so that it doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter... Like if you got shut down 12 times, it doesn't matter that your presentation was interrupted by, whatever, that you're doing your presentation and the person's dog runs by or, whatever it is, like you're still unstoppable. You're not moving off of your position. And that's one of the things that Tony's so brilliant at that event.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, Doug is going to continue to share with us what we can do to heighten our mindset to get from where we are now to where we want to go. You're listening to the Sales Evangelist podcast, and I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. I kind of got into sales by accident, but still yet not really. My family are Jamaicans, and we've been selling ever since I was a kid. So I knew I wanted to do something related to that. My friends, however, in college told me, "You have a great personality, you should go into sales." And I did. Now, B2C selling was amazing. I made some pretty good money. But when I got into B2B selling, it was difficult. And no matter if you are an accidental seller or you want to do this since you were born, if you don't have the proper training, you're not going to succeed. So I didn't. Luckily, I got help. I had the passion, the drive. Now I knew exactly what to do, and I started to thrive. This is why I created TSE Certified Sales Training Program, because there are many of you just like me who didn't have the right training, but had a desire. TSE Certified Sales Training Program will teach you all of the fundamentals you need to really thrive and to be successful as a seller. Join our group coaching program. We would love to have you. Find all the details in the show notes or go to thesalesevangelist.com/course. Again, thesalesevangelist.com/course. This episode is also brought to you in part by Audible. Audible has hundreds and thousands of titles of books for you to choose from fiction to how-to to sales books. One of the books I'm listening to right now is Sales Management Simplified by Mike Weinberg. I'm telling you, the book is amazing. I highly recommend you check it out. Get the book for free and also a 30-day free trial of Audible. Simply go to audibletrial.com/TSE. Again, audibletrial.com/TSE. Hey, we're back, and as we dive into the second half of this episode, Doug's going to continue to share with us how we can transform and how we could take part in events like Tony's upcoming event that can help you to raise your level of thinking and to get you to a whole nother plane. Check it out. So, thinking about this from one of the first things I got from you was like one, goal setting, but then the other thought that I got from you from the very start was that as an individual, I need to sell myself first. So I need to have the confidence first. If I don't have the confidence, then there's no way I can convince anybody. And you also shared something that I know is very, very true in sales is people will buy momentum or buy your enthusiasm.
Right.
And let's say, for instance, go back to this idea of the security sales system or whatever you're selling. You might be selling, I always use a water example on the show. So maybe you're selling a bottle of water, or you're selling a car. What we have, people more than likely will say no at least 4 to 5 times before they say yes. And it's not because it's really a no. It's really because I have that limiting belief, or I have an objection, or I am busy doing something else. And right now it's just in my mind, I'm just going to say no. But if you have something, it's your moral obligation to help that person.
Right.
So if I have a solution to a problem that I know with all my heart of heart is going to help your business or help you as an individual, it's my moral obligation to help you to understand that.
Yes.
At least. If you can make a decision, whatever at the end. But
absolutely.
You need to understand. I need to deliver the message.
So, and not to get all woo-woo-y,
Let's get woo woo.
We get woo
Woo going on.
Is that when you are, and this is to all salespeople, and oh, by the way, who's in sales?
Everybody
is in sales, right? So if the woo-woo section here is this, before making a sale, before making your prospecting call, before connecting with your prospect, your lead, your potential client, we need to be able to get into that state of gratitude, that state of grace, that state of certainty, that confidence, be truly present with yourself and really get clear, visualize it happening, see, hear, and feel them, and almost like show up as if the sale is already done and you're just going to execute the paperwork or whatever it is. But you're doing it from a heartfelt place, from an authentic, genuine place that you've connected, that you are serving this person, whether it be the security system or the widget that helps them carve 10 minutes off their day. Like it's when you get present to who you're with and that alignment, that is where the magic really shows up. And that's what happens when you have that sale, you get that confidence.
Yeah.
That's really what you're doing, is you're showing up in so much belief because you believe in the product, the service, and yourself.
Yeah. It's like the confident, like if that person buy it, then of course somebody else is going to buy it. But I love what you said. When you go to the event, like Tony's event, you're basically getting a button that you can push to ignite every single time, as opposed to just waiting for it to happen. It's being the owner of the captain of your destiny, for real.
Right. And by the way, it's your power, right? Yeah. I mean, you're kind of borrowing Tony's belief in some sense because he's created the environment. But the truth is that what you learn, the old saying, give a man a fish, eat for a day. Yeah. Teach a man to fish, they eat for a lifetime. That's what you're learning at the event. You're learning how to access your own personal power the way you need to do it so that you can turn it on yourself. It's always great to listen to the podcast, watch the videos and all that. These are all fantastic reminders. That's honing it, right? That's the honing. But like going to events like this, going to Unleash Your Power Within, that's getting the coarse blade out. That is getting like the coarse sharpener, really helping you sharpen it. And then all the other stuff. But the problem is, a lot of times, is people spend more time honing than they do sharpening. Mm-hmm. They think, all I got to do is watch the video. All I got to do is listen to the motivational tape. All I've got to do, and
I'm going
to get a YouTube education. And there's value to that, but there's nothing that replaces full-on immersion in that environment. And the other benefit you get from, especially like we're here in Miami, there's going to be 14,000 people there. Now, how important is your network?
It's important.
Your network is your net worth.
Yep.
Where do you want to meet people? Do you want to meet people like who are...
The corner store. I just want to go to the corner store and meet people.
Yeah. It's going to take you a really long time to find, right? I mean, that's where prospects are everywhere. Absolutely. You've got to always be, selling and offering and all of that, of course. And if you want to find strategic partners, you find it at opportunities that people have invested their time, their energy, their finances, who are committed to investing in themselves, to delivering results, to be in that environment. These are the people, man, I have friends for life around the world just from going to events like this. And of course, with Tony particularly, because he's the best. So he attracts the best. But if you do some research and you talk to some of the most successful people, almost every single one of them has experienced Tony on some level and will tell you that Tony played a huge part. So he wouldn't be where he is today if that wasn't the case. Oprah, Sir Anthony Hopkins, Chuck Liddell, Mark Benioff. We're talking about Salesforce. Mark Benioff. Princess Diana, Nelson Mandela, 4 out of the last 5 U.S. presidents. The list goes on and on and on. And it's because Tony has mastered the art of self-mastery and, more importantly, the ability to show others how to do the same.
That's really fascinating, though. And I think that's when it comes back down to it for us as a sales rep, that's the important part. I have been in situations where I was down in the dumps and I was in the negative. I hung out with one of our team members, one of the companies I worked for, and he was a negative Nancy. And I was like, chipper, the young guy, excited. But then once, let's just put a name on him. Let's say Joe. Once Joe came in, Joe would always try to, it was always someone else's problem as opposed to my own. So
the
if we go
energy
back to
vampire.
Yes. And suck the life out of the whole room. And it's the same idea, I think, going back to this gal. If I was to, obviously there's some skills in there. I personally believe, and the way that I train individual sales reps is that anyone could be successful in sales. Anyone, if they come with a desire.
Yes.
And if they come with, imagine if they come with the desire and the stuff that you're teaching and Tony teaches, then they should be, it's like, doesn't matter. They'll be totally fine because anyone can get the techniques.
Right, exactly. And here's the challenge as well. Sometimes for some of us, especially with technology today, everyone, of course, wants to speed the process up.
Give me the microwave, man. I want that dinner.
We're a microwave
dinner.
society. Amen. And what happens is we get marketed the panacea. We get marketed the instant, sales pill. And then that doesn't work, right? And then we go to another, and then we go to another. We go strategy and technique hopping, but we don't. Most people seem to invest their time, energy, and finances in strategies, but not in their self. So they show up. Like one of the things we talk about actually in our training with Tony is the 3 pillars of extraordinary results. And the first is strategies, right? You got to have strategies, of course. And the next thing you've got to do with these strategies, and these strategies are everything from obviously what phone calls you're going to be doing, what's your action plan, the different technologies that are available, whether it be LinkedIn, Instagram, if you're doing social or if you're doing, enterprise solutions, whatever it is, there's all these strategies. But if you don't implement them, you don't take action with them, obviously they're not going to work. But what most people do is they take action, but they take it half-assed. Their mindset, the last pillar, their mindset is off. They don't invest in their mindset. They'll spend another $1,000 on the next strategy. They'll do the next subscription. They'll do it half-assed and then say, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Blame the strategy, go from strategy to strategy. And then when someone comes along and says, hey, but you know what? Who's driving this car? And they're like, well, no, it can't be my fault. Like I implemented the strategy. I'm like, yeah, but I saw how you did it. Like you did it with a belief that it wasn't going to work in the first place, or you showed up with this non-resourceful energy, this non-resourceful attitude, and it came across like, hey, LinkedIn, you probably don't want to, get me any gigs, do you? And then you go, LinkedIn doesn't work. And it's not, obviously you don't ask LinkedIn to do anything. You've got to do it. But if you show up, I mean, you see it all the time. People, how many of you have gotten that email, the email blast or whatever, and you could tell that they did put no time into it. It's just like an offer, like this is crap. And you go, and I'm not even responding to this person, right? And then they go, LinkedIn doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get any business. Well, yeah, you just threw spaghetti against the wall and you're wondering why it doesn't taste good. Like it's not how it works.
Yeah. We have a marketer in the audience, so I was pointing at him because he knows the truth of it all the time.
Yeah.
He gets them all day, every day. So, here's one of the things something that you shared there that I thought was resonated back to again with the whole idea that, I put the work in, but it doesn't work and, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. They're not really doing the work like you're saying. I have a second podcast that we're launching. It's called I'm Sold. So some of our members in our audience probably heard of it, but we're changing it up a little bit. But I'm Sold, where we interview executives and they tell us about their experience being sold too. And it's like an interview-based narrative.
That is
so going
cool.
to the other side of the line, right? You can have the sales expert that say, this is my book, this is what I've seen. But the buyer we interviewed a guy from Intel the other day, and we interviewed a guy from Disney. So it's like all of these people who have really, really high executive roles, they're coming to tell us. And one of the things that they tell me is exactly what you just shared. Exactly. They said, one of the things we don't like is don't send that blanketed email. I know it's a blanketed email. You put no effort into it.
Right.
So why should I take my time? Everyone could read it between the lines. Now, we know that it's a canned email you're sending to 50,000 or 5,000 people. So if I know that, then why would I respond right now? And then you say, well, Salesforce sucks, or, my software, my LinkedIn doesn't work, or emailing doesn't work. This industry is dead. There's no opportunities here.
And part of the psychology, this is why it's so important that you invest in yourself. And obviously I'm here, partnered with Tony here. So I believe that Tony is the best, but you got to do something. Is oftentimes the people who do that, it's just lazy. They don't want to be, right?
Is that true? You guys believe that's true?
They don't, but also it goes a little bit deeper. They don't want to be vulnerable, right? So if I get rejected from a blanket email that I put no time in, no harm, no foul. It's no big deal. But if I actually took the time, did a little research about that person, actually said, hey, I noticed that you do blah, blah, blah. I love this, and acknowledge them and edify them and, basically show that you actually care, and then you get rejected, Then you're like, oh man, I don't know. I did all that work and nothing happened. Now the most work I did was, copy and paste an email into my, in Messenger. And if they blow me off, I'm not vulnerable. And here's the thing, and this is why it's so important, and I can't stress this enough, is true salespeople who are crushing it also are willing to get vulnerable, be authentic, take the time, expose themselves in the way that they took the time and said, hey, I did the research, I did some due diligence. I'm actually putting myself at risk because I'm also connecting with you on a personal level, which means I'm also sharing something. And if we're connecting over something that is deep, now all of a sudden you have the potential of being, quote, hurt. And no one obviously wants that. But when you really understand the value you have to offer and come from a place of service rather than expecting like no entitlement mentality, you can be really succinct and deep in those like communications so that someone wants to do business with you, right? Because who do people do business with? People they know, like, and trust. I'm not going to know, like, and trust you if I don't know anything about you and you're not being authentic, genuine, and honest and sharing with who you are. And that's, again, another one of these things why these events are so powerful, and especially Tony, because he creates such an environment of honesty and integrity and genuine value that you make friends that you will do business with in the future, not because of any other reason, that because they're freaking awesome and you've connected on a deep level and you want to serve them. So I'm not saying go to an event like this expecting business. Go to an event like this to grow yourself and connect with other awesome people so that you could support each other.
And I think you're right there. People, if you go with the wrong mindset, like give me, and not let me give, or, what can I do to improve? Then, obviously you're going to get what you want. You're not going to get the return. Yeah.
Well, you just think of like a personal relationship. Like imagine if each person in an intimate relationship, your wife, your child, whatever, that you both were just going, gimme. Nothing happened. Now as a child, they're expecting to do that, right? And because they know no better. But as they get older, what do we teach them? We educate them on giving, on charity, on being present, it's a two-way street.
So there's something that I want to marry 2 points now. So go back to our gal, and let's say that she was having this tough time. And then let's go back to the point where we're talking about the pain, like they run through the pain. Mm-hmm. The individuals who do succeed, the people who do ultra marathons, and those people who go through those tough moments, doing the reps. I think for me, the breakthrough in the conversation so far is that the running through the pain is me being vulnerable in the sales situation and me putting the effort or a time into the opportunity. So if I'm reaching out to Reggie here in the audience and I'm going to send Reggie an email, if I can do the quick, run around the block and say, man, I exercise, but I don't know why I'm not losing weight. Or I can send, set up a time and say, I'm going to monitor my eating. I'm going to make sure I only drink this. I'm going to run X amount of miles. I'm going to do it every single day, and I'm going to push myself at the end. And if that's the case, then that's probably how I can see the best improvement.
Right. And
that's the pain part. Pushing through the pain as a sales rep.
And what you learn, like with Tony, is how to get yourself into the right state so that you can follow through. You can get yourself up to take those actions to do that. Because that's really what it is. It's the breakthrough. It's like this piece of paper, right? Yeah. So I know that we're listening to this. So what I'm doing is I'm holding a flat piece of paper and I'm going to hold it up close to Donald and he can't see anything, but it's just a piece of paper and it's not that big. But from here, it appears like it's impossible to pass. He can't see anything. But then when you start learning, and what you learn with Tony and other opportunities is you learn new perspectives. And then as you pull it away and you change your perspective, you go, oh, it's just a little piece of paper. It's actually only 8 by 11. But then you actually change your perspective again and you go, it's wafer thin. It's really not that big of a deal at all. And I can crunch it up. I can rip it up. I can burn it. And once you start learning how to manipulate your ability to perceive, to receive, to communicate, to find ways around, over, through, then it doesn't matter whether it's making phone calls, getting up and door knocking, or if it's following up, whatever it is, you've already just gone, oh, it's just, I see. It's not that big. It's not that big of a deal. And that's the vulnerability to go, oh, okay, it's not impassable. Because oftentimes, not to get too deep into it, we get rewarded, right? Because what happens? Misery loves.
Oh, they love company.
So if I'm having a bad day, right, I don't want to talk to someone who's crushing it. I want to talk to someone who's having a worse day than me so I can go, oh, it's the economy, right? That's what's going on. Nobody's got any money. And then you go, yeah, I know, man. Yeah, I'm having the same thing.
The management sucks.
Yeah, they don't even know what they're doing.
Marketing give us no leads. Suck.
Right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's the leads. It's a LinkedIn. I know they put all that into the LinkedIn strategy, and all those LinkedIn leads suck. What we should be doing is Snapchat or whatever. I don't know what they're, they're everywhere, but it's mastering our ability to perceive what's going on, change our relationship with the situation at hand. And no one's better than that than Tony. And to be able to go, oh, okay, here's where I'm at. Here's where I want to go. I can do it. I believe in myself and my ability. I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm actually going to be excited about the opportunity laid ahead of me. Imagine that game-changing experience with pain, with like the difference between getting excited for knowing that there's going to be 4 to 5 to 10 no's before I get a yes anyway. Yeah. Going, oh my gosh, cool. That's 1 no. Great. Cool. Yeah. 2. Oh, awesome. Here we go. 3. We're almost there, baby. 4. Awesome. 5. And then, you're not beating yourself up. You're actually pushing yourself ahead.
Yeah. Pushing yourself through.
Or pulling yourself ahead with your vision, rather.
So this sales rep here, man, she knows what to do now. She knows that she needs to get going, and obviously she needs to get to the event. But if there's one major takeaway you would like that sales rep who's listening to this episode, who feels that they're down in the pits, they know they need to set the goals now, and they have all this stuff. What's that one major thing they should leave this episode with and start applying, Doug?
So this may or may not be directly related to your question, but it's bringing me up to say it, is what is your relationship with sales, period? Because here's the thing. If you believe that if you don't like being sold, and that's why it's brilliant. I love that you're talking to people who are sold and going through their sales process, like what worked for them. If you don't like being sold, if you don't like I've had people like in this opportunity, companies, decision makers say, I don't want my team being sold. And I'll ask, well, how's your team doing? Well, they don't have any money. That's why I don't want them being sold. Well, okay. So let me get this straight. You have trained your team that sales is bad so that you don't want me to come in to sell. What do you think they're thinking about sales when they're going out in the field? Bad. Sales is bad. So I don't want to feel pushy. I don't want to feel like I'm selling anybody. And that's going to show up. So for this girl who's getting out of the slump is also get excited about sales, about being sold, about that it is not bad, that it is the way we move our experiences. And I use this example with influence, if you're not in sales for a living, is that you're hanging out with your friends and they want to go to Fridays and you want to go to Chili's. If you went to Fridays, you've been sold, right? If you went to Chili's, you influenced, you sold. And it's not a time to feel bad about it. It's a time to feel excited that you're able to add value to someone's life. And the truth is we need to get really present to how truly valuable we are, the value that we add to other people, and see the value in others, and then connect with them on a deep level and add your magic, add your light so that they can shine even brighter. And I didn't want to get too wooey, but that was perfect, because I think you lined it up great. If somebody's listening to this though, and they're saying, wow, this is great, I need to be at the event, I need to make sure I get there. When is the event, and how do they go about getting more information about coming to listen to Tony? Thank you for asking. So the event is at the American Airlines Arena at November 7th through 10th. And real quickly, it's called Unleash the Power Within, and it's 3.5 days. So I'll just do a real quick event description, if that's okay, just to share. So day 1 is called Turn Fear into Power. And what we talked about, all this, what stops people from asking for referrals? What stops people from prospecting? What stops people from door knocking? What is it? Fear, right? Exactly.
The no.
The rejection, all of that. And of course, there's more to it. But the first day, we got to start with fear. So what you're going to do on the first day is about turning fear into power. You're going to work the muscle of state management, your emotional state, to create a state of so much certainty, so much confidence, so much belief in yourself, this unstoppable sense of self that you could like walk through walls. And that like picking up a phone and making those calls or door knocking or following through, whatever it is, you're going to have the energy, the resources, the fuel necessary to make that happen. And then to celebrate that, we go outside and we step in front of 10 feet of 1,200 degree coals and we storm across them in bare feet. Now, the reason why is this is not like a metaphor. It's real and it's a metaphor. You really do this. Yeah. But what's so powerful about it is you notice how you show up, because just like on some level, you're listening to a motivational music or watching a video, right? You go outside maybe to do that door knock, and then all of a sudden it starts creeping in again, right? And then you get a little distracted, squirrel, right? But when you're outside, you have the same thing. You walk up, you step up in front of the coals, and your brain is going to start going, what are you doing? Oh no, like maybe I need to, and it starts showing up. So you get to work that muscle that you've just been taught, that Tony just taught, and really you've been working on during that day. And then you storm across those hot coals. You get on the other side and you celebrate, and then your brain, you're actually doing brain surgery. The neurology in your brain starts rewiring, going, what else is possible? Like, I thought that I was going to burn myself, and I'm loving life. I'm excited. I'm on, like, not on fire literally, but like I'm just feeling like so incredibly blessed and gifted and excited and grateful for this opportunity. And it gets in your body. It's so incredible. So for many people, that is like the game changer, because they realize that there's so much more that's possible. Day 2 is the power of influence. Have you ever had it happen where you sat down with somebody and you met them and you connected like instantly, right? You just created this instant rapport. Have you ever had it happen where you met somebody and you just went doink, like it was nothing was connecting at all, but you're talking about the same stuff and there's no reason why? You're going to learn on Friday what that is, how to, other than consciously, how to unconsciously connect and communicate with people, how to get them to take action. But really, the most important person you and I have to motivate is whom? Ourselves. You're going to learn what it is that you do with your body, with your thoughts, with all of the ways that we create our emotions and that fuel. You master it on that day. Unbelievable day. Day 3 is where we're at right now, is the conversation, right? It's the lies that we've been telling, these excuses that we've been giving about the economy. And really it boils down to some internal beliefs about ourselves. On Transformation Day on Saturday, that day, you're going to rip those out. You just rip them out of your body. But of course, nature abhors a vacuum. So because these 2 days, we've also been creating a vision of goals that we talked about right from the beginning. Like, we got to have goals. We've got some goals. We've been working on that throughout the first 2 days. Then you create beliefs that are congruent with the outcome. So it's so much easier. If you believe you can do it, you can. If you believe you can't, you can. Thank you, Henry Ford. So you create the internal structure necessary to create these incredible experiences in life. And then Sunday is a bonus day. And that's all about health, right? Because the truth is that we could be talking for days about all of this, but here we go. You were talking earlier, Reggie, about going into hospitals and nursing homes and all that. I don't think they're going around running marathons. We got to have energy to make all this happen. So that's, in a nutshell, Unleash the Power Within. It's going to be at the American Airlines Arena with Tony, November 7th through 10th, 2019. Got a date.
Put the year on.
And if you want any information, you're interested in going, my email is Doug, DUG, .McGuirk, MCGUIRK, @TonyRobbins.com. Doug.McGuirk, DUG, McGuirk, @TonyRobbins.com. I'll even give you my phone number. I ain't scared.
That's fine.
646-523-8230. And then here's a cool little trick. I use this service called Easy Card. If you text the word Doug, D-U-G, to 64600, that's 64600, send the word Doug, D-U-G, it's going to send you a link, and that link has all my contact info. It has all my social, it has my email, my phone number, my LinkedIn, my Instagram, my books, how to book me, just everything. Very cool way for us to stay connected, because it's my privilege and honor to serve everyone in this group here.
Well, we'll go ahead and we'll put that in our show notes, and we'll make it so folks can get access to it. We'll also share that as we put it out on our social media. We'll make sure to put that information in the social media stuff. Doug, you and Tony, thank you guys so much for you being here and for representing Tony and for sharing this stuff. We appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been my privilege and honor, and I am truly blessed to be in this incredible presence here with you gentlemen. So thank you.
Woo! Any questions you guys have for him? So let me repeat the question. Someone asked, what if you're selling a product that you don't believe in? How can you go about selling that?
I wouldn't. I mean, that is a tough question, because when you say don't believe in what way? Like, is it crap, or is it you're just not into it? Because the challenge is that if you're selling crap, it's not going to work anyway, right? So it's like, I believe in Tony. That's why I'm here talking about it. He's changed my life. I didn't even get into any of the stories. I went totally into like Train, but the impact he's had on my life is incredible. So that's why I believe in it and what I've seen in other people's lives. But I would strongly recommend, if someone is not believing in the product, that they start looking for a new product. And I know that people sometimes get locked into it, and I'm just going to be a steel-eyed realist and say, that's probably not for you. Yep. You're not going to be effective. And if I'm a manager or leader or an owner of an organization, and I have someone working with me and out there representing me and doesn't believe in it, I don't want them out there representing me.
How do you motivate someone who rejects the motivation?
So without knowing the whole picture behind it, we're always in some sort of a trance state. And sometimes we have to learn what trance other people are in. We have to meet them where they're at. So just because the way you motivate yourself works isn't necessarily going to be the way the other person is going to be motivated. So we need to learn where they're at. And the reason why I use Trance State is because we're running these patterns we're not even aware of. So your friend or work associate or whatever who is not enjoying the motivation opportunities provided, that's an other than conscious pattern they're running, right? So you need to kind of meet them where they're at. And oftentimes we pre-frame with, I want to get you motivated. And as soon as you say that, that shuts them down, right? So you don't want to announce what you're doing. You just need to meet them where they're at and then learn about them and what does excite them, right? What is going to excite them? You know, like I'll give you a great example. Today, this is a true story. My daughter's 5. Our daughter, my wife and I'm still, she is learning about consequences and influence, right? So if then, right? So we've shared with her, if you don't do X, we're trying to motivate her, right? But if you don't do X, you're not going to get Y. And one of the things she likes to have, like her snack at night or whatever, well, if you don't have your dinner, you're not going to get your snack. If you don't listen, you're not going to get your ice cream, whatever. But that's a little bit of influence. We're trying to motivate her. Today, she was trying to get the dogs inside from outside, like they're out in the yard. And she's going, if you don't come in, you're not going to get your treats. I won't give you your treats. So right. And because for her, what motivates her is at this stage is getting her treats, getting her snacks. So she figured that the dogs would be motivated by that. They weren't, because they don't understand English. So what happens is stupid dogs. So what happens is sometimes we think that other people get motivated by the exact same things that motivate us. So we try and do what motivates us. And they're like, that doesn't work. So what we need to do is learn how to communicate. And again, I'm not going to just keep circling back every time, but it is possible that that's what you're going to learn at UPW, is how to learn what motivates other people so that you can get them to take action. People make decisions based on their model of the world, not ours. And oftentimes we think everybody has the same voices in their head that we have in ours. And we don't. And that's one of the most important things as a salesperson you can learn, is that people take action based on their reasons, not yours. So by understanding what their reasons are, by understanding what their motivators are, you can then meet them and then get them excited. And sometimes it's not about going, I got to be motivated.
Love it, man. Well, Doug, thanks again for the opportunity to come and share this stuff with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. You guys rock.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, if you want to get connected with Doug or Tony Robbins and learn about the cool things that they're doing, go ahead and find all the information in our show notes. You can swipe up on a cover art. You can find all the details, find the links, also connect with Doug. If it makes sense for you and you're close to South Florida or you want to come down here in South Florida, go to the event. I think you will definitely have a great experience, a great time. Again, find all the information in the show notes and connect with Doug. While you're there in our show notes, also check out TSE Certified Sales Training Program. If you need help getting to the next level with your sales game, you want to sharpen your tool, you want to be able to have those conversations that are value rich and to close more deals, check us out. Join TSE Certified Sales Training Program. All the information, again, is back in the show notes. I share stuff like this because I want to help you. I want you to be successful. I want you to be able to find more of your ideal customers. I want you to have more meaningful conversations. I want you to close more deals. But most importantly, I want to challenge you to go out each and every single day and do big things. Hey, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode today. And also, if you haven't done so already, I ask you to go ahead and hit subscribe. It would be an absolute honor to have you leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It goes a long way. Folks are able to come back behind you, see your testimonial, and hit subscribe because of what you share. I would greatly appreciate that. Our show today was produced by myself and the Sales Podcast Network. It was edited and mixed together by the one and only Jershon O'Bale. Our show note today was created by Rael Ramirez. Our podcast guest coordinator is Mrs. Maymar. All of our podcast artwork and social media graphics was created today by Desin Cunado. Our podcast production manager is Mrs. Shannon Rasmussen. You can find audio credits to this and all of our episodes in each of our show notes. And as always, I am your host, your coach, your mentor, your guide down the sales journey, Mr. Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. Sales Podcast Network.